Welcome back. We're on day 14. Yesterday we ended with putting the Z-metal strips up on the horizontal joint that's going to be between the two layers, the two levels of plywood. And now I'm trying to cut those triangles that need to go on the top gables. So I took my measurements and I know that they're going to be 6 foot wide because that's half the shed. Looks like they're going to be 47 inches tall, and then I put that into a online triangle calculator to see if that was going to flesh out to be where my roof slope is, which is about 30 degrees. It's a 7/12, right? So it seems like I've got the numbers I need. You can see right here, I've got this board across my plywood from the marks that I've made where I think it is. I measured it with the speed square. It's about 30, it's about a 7. It's also measuring up to another measurement that I'm going to cut. So I'm feeling good about this. So we're going to mark this and cut it, and I'm going to get 2 triangles out of a sheet of plywood. So that was totally intentional. I was trying to be efficient there in cost because plywood can be expensive. I'm just holding it up here to see if it is going to fit. I'll lop off the edge there. It's not trying all the way out, so I'll create a vertical line. I've already drawn the line where I thought it would fit, and it looks still like it's the right place, so that's good. All right, I think this is going to be the right size triangle. Now I need to cut 3 more panels. So what I'm going to do is just take the one I just cut, lay it on top of the next one to be cut, and trace it. So it's going to be a template. We'll cut these out and then we'll head down to the shed. Got the plywood up on the front, and we did this by clamping at either end, adjusting, getting both of them up there before we put one nail in, because I wanted to see how it fit, make sure my angles, all my math, trigonometry came out right, and for most intents and purposes it was right. It was good enough. I think my slope angle was a little bit off. I may go back and cut a little bit of the wood that lipped over the top ridge down at the bottom. It was good at the top, and it was sort of came too high on the sides. The seam here isn't perfect, but I'm gonna put a trim board on front of that gap, so I'm not worried about that. No one will ever see it. So looking good. Now it's, and after it was in place with the clamps, we did go around and nail gun it in. And so it's good. I'm gonna take the clamps down. All right, plywood's up on the gables. Quick little tip. This is a lesson learned after doing it wrong. When you're cutting out your triangles, if you're using the same sheet of plywood, the second triangle needs to be cut you need to flip the plywood board and then cut your triangle out from that side using the template. Otherwise, you'll get 4 identical triangles that have their good side out all the same way, which means 2 of your triangles won't fit on the opposite side that they're all cut for. All right, Lee and I had a long discussion, so it might be a little bit of a mind bender, but just take me for my word here. If you cut them all out the same way using a template on the same side of the board, they're all going to be good for one side. They'll all be good on that side, and none of them will be good on this side. So I had to put the bad side of the plywood out on my right triangle on my roof. Not the end of the world, but something to be aware of if you're doing this. All right, I'm trying to get my roof on, I really am. But before I can, I've got a couple things I've got to do first. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out some plywood that's gonna fill the triangle that extends past, so that we have that in place, and then I can start building my extended rafter, my box rafter, and what I'm gonna do on the back. I have to do those three things before I can put the roof on, so we'll see that coming up next. All right, because the soffit I wanted to lay flat against the 2x4 here, up against the wall, I need to cut the rafter tails. They're extending a little too far, so just using a reciprocal saw to take those out. All right, so next up, I'm gonna build my roof extensions. I forget what they're called, so I'll put them on the screen now. On the front of the shed, I want to create a box that I'll build on the ground and then mount it up there. It'll extend the roof out and create an overhang over the doors. On the back side, I'm going to do something a little more simple. I'm just going to create the gable shape with 2x4s and then trim that out with 1x6s. So it'll create some thickness there so the roof will extend past the shed, but it won't be like the 6 inches or whatever I'm going to make from the overhang of the box, and I want to build for the front. Regardless, both of them require a bunch of 2x4s at the same slope as the trusses that will get nailed up to the plywood. So I'm going to build that now. I'm going to cut one board for my test board. I'll put it up on the shed and make sure it's long enough, it's the right angle, and then once I'm sure of that, I'll cut a lot more and actually start building. A quick warning, what you are about to see and hear is dramatic, and it's not as bad as it sounds.
All right, Kevin, where are we headed?
To the orthopedic emergency room to see if my foot is broken.
What did you do, Kevin?
The ladder was longer than I thought, and I missed a step, I guess, or I thought it was the ground. Anyway, I turned my foot over. There's a pop or crack. I'm not sure what sound I heard. So we just need an x-ray and find out what's happened.
So for all you thinking about doing a shed, please factor this 2 hospital visits into your budget.
That's not fair. Just don't rush. Take your time, enjoy the scenery. But something did happen, and I did sprain my foot. So, like I mentioned when I was being interviewed, the lesson learned here is that you just can't rush. And the rain has been putting me under pressure. I really want to get a roof up. It's all this moisture is just so bad on the plywood. But I paid the price, and I had a misstep on the ladder, and the rest is history. So that's going to bring today to a conclusion, much like day 5, I think it was, being concluded by a thumb. So until next time.